we're business owners here, and as business owners, we got 1,000 things to figure out. But one of the most important things is our CRM. And I said, I want to go deep. I want to go advanced. I want somebody to see this and be able to walk away and take action on this.
To expand a little bit further on like referral sources and tracking, what we're going to get into here very quickly is there's UTM codes, but we want to be very clear. You want your system to be very clear on what was organic traffic and what was paid traffic.
Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you here today. A wonderful Wednesday. Woo! It's been a long last couple of weeks with all the conferences going on. Glad to have you all here. We are, man, this looks like it's already going to be a crushing and killer webinar when it comes to attendance. Austin, I've got Austin here today. I'll give you more of an intro here, but everyone, please, let's do our normal routine here. Make sure that you've got your chat to everybody. And to test it, I'd like you all to go and give a warm shout out to Austin from Smart Moving. Say hello to him. He's here sacrificing and giving his time. Make sure that you have to everybody. Look at all the people saying, hey, Austin. I wonder how many of these people you've met in person. Thanks for being here today, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Seeing some recognizable names there. Kim up in Washington State, David Harmon, just saw him at ATA Dispatchers along with Kim and many others. So glad to be here.
I love it. Thank you. Everyone, glad you're here. Really, seriously, super grateful. I'm very excited about today's webinar. We're going through advanced level stuff in Smart Moving. And the premise of what I wanted to get out of Austin is to go, hey, I don't want basic stuff. I don't want the Joe Schmo stuff. I want somebody to come on this webinar and be challenged about what they can do with Smart Moving. What is the advanced stuff that Austin knows about, because he lives, breathes, and eats this and sleeps on this probably. Do you have Smart Moving dreams?
Yeah, it's on my pillow. It's on my cups. It's on my shirts. So Smart Moving Blue.
I love it. This is all he does every single day. Well, we're business owners here, and as business owners, we got 1,000 things to figure out. But one of the most important things is our CRM. And I said, I want to go deep. I want to go advanced. I want somebody to see this and be able to walk away and take action on this. Is that a Smart Moving logo cup right there?
Oh, yes, it is.
So he literally drinks this. Okay, great. So I wanted this to be advanced.
It's just
I wanted
water
this.
at this hour.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Vodka. Okay. I wanted this to be advanced. I wanted this to be pushing y'all's limit on what you believe you could do with Smart Moving. So that's the premise of today. I'm going to open up the slide deck and get into it. It looks like everyone has their chats ready to go. You guys will probably have a ton of questions. I want you to get those questions in. If you got to get into the chat, get into the chat. Charlie Morris, good to see you. Get it into the Q&A section of the chat, ideally, and I'll be running through that. If you get it into the chat, that is okay. We will pull that out. A few other things here. I may not be able to answer every single question when you throw it in, but that's okay, because I will get it into sequence and we'll get most of these answered. Additionally, I have a challenge for Danae. You can't see Danae, but she's here. Danae, I have a mission that we don't have one AI bot in the attendees list at all today. So I see Cameron's note taker, Otter AI. I want to shoot that down so fast. I see Jason's note taker AI. I want to shoot them all down. Well, they're in the attendees list. So let's get them and kill them. All right. Now that we're on to that, let me open up my screen. Let me get to it. I hope y'all are excited. I've got energy. You know what? I might even need to bring a nicotine in here. All right. Do we see my screen here? We're only going to be doing a little bit of slideshows today. And the reason why we're only doing a little bit of slideshows today is because I wanted this to be tactical for y'all. And Austin was so caring and loving that he worked through all my confusion and was like, all right, I can screen share. I can make this happen. So we can see this. All right, let's get going. Austin, welcome. I'd love for you to just say hi to everyone, explain what your role is at Smart Moving, how long you've been here, and why we should listen to you today about everything you're doing. Just give me that rundown and we will move forward from there.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Travis. Hello, everybody. My name's Austin. Know many of you. My role here is on the sales organization, but I tend to float around and love talking to moving owners. I was one myself. Have done sales, owning and operating a moving company, two of them actually, and am now here at Smart Moving. So the moving company that I was a part of in Dallas was the beta company for Smart Moving, and so I've been around Smart for a long time. Um, like Travis said, I'm in this every day. There's certainly a number of ways you can set up smart moving, and everyone has different moving companies that are doing a number of services: local, heavy storage, interstate, military. So our focus today is very much around the paid ads and expanding how you look at that from a process standpoint, organizing those leads, and I'm excited to get into it.
Sweet. Well, thank you, everybody. I am excited for you to be here today. Austin, why don't you walk us through just a little bit of where we're coming here? I want to actually, before you do that, we're going to set up this situation. The idea here is we wanted to create some kind of context in some kind of scenario that we could walk through this. And the idea is we all have leads coming in. It's one of the most valuable things we have today. It's also one of the most competitive things that we have coming into our CRMs, our leads. Well, if you look at every lead, not every lead is the same. I think we can all agree. A referral that comes to us because Susie, the realtor, told Joe Schmo to work with your moving company, that lead is already pre-warmed. It's good. There's a lot of things going for you in your favor. But you have that one side of that lead. On the other side, you have leads kind of from, like, let's say Google Ads, where they're cold, they are competitive, everyone's fighting for them. And the idea is, well, how do we then get the most out of these leads? How do we win with these leads? And I was talking to Austin earlier about, like, let's say Google Ads leads. And I know not all of you run Google Ads, so don't get caught up on that. The idea here is every lead is valuable, so how do we optimize and get the best out of the leads? But a Google Ad lead comes in, we want to win with those Google Ad leads and we want to book them, but they are competitive. So we may want to consider who actually talks to these leads. Maybe we need a top salesperson to talk to certain Google Ads leads. Maybe we have a realtor referral program. And so when a referral program, a realtor referral comes in, they actually go to different people. And so we're going to go deep into and we're going to go into how do we leverage every aspect of the CRM. Austin talked about there's multiple touch points from estimator to the salesperson. And so he's going to break that all down. So with that context and scenario, Austin, walk through us what we're going to go through today, and then we'll jump right in.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm going to start out with how you manage and organize your referral sources, leads coming into Smart Moving. Every lead that comes in, one of the primary requirement outside of John Smith, the customer, that customer name, is the referral source, right? So every lead's going to have that attached. We should be looking at that at a weekly, monthly basis. If you're working with Rotate Digital, you need to be reviewing that with them as well, right? Hey, like, we're heavily weighted on referrals or organic or paid. I've seen a lot of companies make a lot of mistakes with, like, just too many leads in one bucket. And when that bucket starts to shift or tip over, jobs go away quickly. So, just think about that as an owner, how you want to prioritize spreading those leads. After we get some of the lead tracking set up in Smart Moving, we're going to go through the lead routing process. This is where the CRM is really going to kickstart and take its advantage on how you build your process and your organization. For those of you paying for Google Ads or leads in general, I would try your best to have multiple touches on that lead every day. That's something that Lewis and Saro ingrained in this industry with that CMET follow-up. So we're going to build that. And then we're going to go into some high-level dashboards reporting what Rotate Digital is looking at for you guys from a SEO and SEM perspective. There's several legacy reportings in Smart Moving, and then I have some other dashboards available as well. And then we'll go into how you optimize those and understand good versus bad campaigns.
Sweet. And then we got an all jobs report versus marketing report, which I threw at Austin this morning because I said, I need to understand the difference between these. What am I missing on each one? I figured you guys would want to see that as well. If not, we'll skip it. Well, that's where we're at today. Austin, take us away. Lee comes in. Let's start with the first initial screen share. Take it away and run this. As you know, I am prone and known to interrupt and ask questions, and I will take y'all's questions and interrupt at the appropriate time as well. So make sure to get those in there. I know some of you guys, I see some of you guys on here. You have great businesses, you have a lot of needs. Get those specific questions in here. Today is the day to do this. All right, great. Austin, thanks for being here. Take it away.
Thanks, Travis. Before I get started, I'll try to mention this throughout, and you'll see it at the end. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can also reach us at hello@smartmoving.com. Our team's happy to go through and set up a number of these things with you. So let's get going. Sharing my screen here, so you're all familiar with the Smart Moving dashboard. There's going to be some goose eggs today. Ignore that. This is my demo account, but we're here to have fun. And let's get into lead routing. First, referral sources. Sorry. So in your sales settings, you have your referral sources turned on, right? Some of these might be exposed to your lead form on your website. Some of these could be connected to lead providers that were inputting lead cost. So on these referral sources, you could have a number of things. It's important to work closely with groups like Rotate Digital to have the exact format. Do not go ham today and start adjusting these things after you hear me talk about some cool stuff. We don't want you to lose any data. We can merge those things correctly on the back end. If you do have duplicates or want to merge those, work with us. But this is a very important foundational step of getting your leads set up correctly in Smart Moving.
Okay, before you move on, I just got to ask, go back real quick.
Yeah.
You mentioned like a little warning and you said a big warning and we kind of blew past that. Give me a story or a scenario of like what can go wrong for this right now.
Yeah, great question. So let's say that you have Facebook and social media and Instagram and meta ads, and you're like, I just want it to be simpler for my sales team to do one. Don't come in here and just rewrite this to Zuckerberg, okay? It will affect some of your past data. We don't want that to happen. Our team can get that done correctly. We really just need, here's what's existing, here's what I want new, and we can make that happen. I'm just giving you a warning. Don't come in here like I just did and re-edit stuff, right? It's you don't want that to happen. What did that say?
Okay. So that's really good to know. So if I was like, hey, I see one referral source here is Google, and you know what? I want Google Ads, Google LSA, and Google Organic. And you were going to go and tell me if I just change that Google to Google Ads, that's risky. You'd rather just email hello@smartmoving.com and say, here are the 3 referral sources I want. Here's which ones I want merged because they're the same thing. I'm just going to name it differently.
Right. And to expand a little bit further on like referral sources and tracking, what we're going to get into here very quickly is there's UTM codes. Travis is the expert. I will let him explain UTM tracking, but we want to be very clear. You want your system to be very clear on what was organic traffic and what was paid traffic, right? Travis, you want to break down what a UTM campaign looks like?
Not right now, but I will later on.
All right. We'll get into that later. We're going to see some reporting pretty quickly here.
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
Take it away.
So now that we have some of these things set up, we're going to go over to workflow automations. You can build a number of rules in Smart Moving. I have some that are focused around referrals from realtors or the affiliate portal. We're going to look at a couple that I have built here for leads that are in process and new. So starting with the new ones, we'll just create a new one. So you can actually use templates in Smart Moving, but we're going to use, we're just going to call this rotates lead rule. And you then set up a trigger to say like, how and why are we going to create a rule and follow-up process, right? So the whole goal here is for us to create a rule that either points a lead to a specific salesperson, it points a type of lead to a group of people. There's a number of things that you can do with the roles in Smart Moving. So you have your sales role, estimator, and move coordinator. If you're doing paid ads for interstate and you're looking to grow into the interstate lanes, you should have multiple people touching those leads, setting up those on-sites or virtual estimates. Those are the things that you want to build in Smart Moving here with this setup. So we'll say when a lead's created, and then there's conditions. So if you're familiar with our pricing rules, this is very similar. We're condition setting here. So I'm just going to use a broader one with any of these conditions met. And there's a number of things here, right? Opportunity status is going to be a new lead or a lead in progress, most likely. These are not booked jobs. So the more you can get granular on these filters, the better for the long term, because you don't want to change one thing and it affect others. You want to keep these things very concise and precise throughout your workflow. You can use the referral source trigger, right? So if it's coming from AdWords, and now that we know it's AdWords, Travis is also going to set up UTM campaigns. And so there we can set up a number of groups of, it came from Facebook was the, medium. It came from house movers was the keyword. There's a group of things that you want to try and track. And each of these you can continue to build on and segment to the right salesperson, a group of salespeople. If you know that, like, we used to do a lot of volume moves for apartment moves, right? A lot of same day moves, next day moves. You guys know how it goes. Those aren't bad leads. You just have to react quickly, be competitive, book them, tag them, and move on. So if you had a keyword that was like apartment movers, as an example, your team, you could create rules here that, like, your team's touching that every 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever that is, right? CMET, call, email, text. Texting is going to be key on some of these. But these are great for like fill-in jobs, afternoon jobs, building up bigger arrival windows. Obviously, the ones that are much larger, we want to focus on the interstate moves, the 4 and 5 figure ticket moves that involve multiple services. You can continue to build that in here. Travis, am I on the right track with what you want to see with these leads?
Yeah, so the idea here is we got workflows. It's like an if-then statement. We can then create the outcome we want with them. What Austin's specifically talking about here is we can say, hey, when there's a new opportunity status, and let's say the UTM or the referral source, let's say in this case the UTM says long distance movers. It's some kind of keyword revolving long distance movers. You may have someone specific at your team that knows how to sell that really well, or is the person you want those leads to go to specifically. You have the ability to set it up where, because of that keyword from Google Ads, that it goes to a specific person or specific group of people. Now, that's one example with Google Ads. Now, I assume the same thing can go for routing to a salesperson for, a realtor referral program, etc.
Right.
Austin, what are some of the other scenarios outside of routing to a salesperson that this workflow can be used and leveraged that either you've seen or that is an awesome opportunity for owners to use?
Yeah, this automation system, you'll see a little new green tag here. It's the automated rules have been here for a while, but we've expanded this along with task templates to our move coordinators. So again, there's 3 different roles when we look at an estimate in smart moving. There's the salesperson, which you're most familiar with, the estimator, and then the move coordinator. And if it's coming from a realtor, right, you might, in that same instance, have that referral source be my fictitious realtor here, Bill Casa. Anytime I'm managing Bill's account. Bill's a broker. He's got the best real estate group in town. Anytime something comes from Wild Bill, I'm receiving a notification to follow up with him, right? It might be a thank you touch point for that referral. I might, call to ask about, what's going on with the Jones family. Are they leaving town? What kind of lead is this, right? So he's using that affiliate portal. There's a number of ways to do that. Maybe after the job, we want to thank Bill, right? So maybe when a job's paid in full, you can use this as a quick send that template as a thank you text to Bill, and then we're going to order cookies for their office, right? And that's going to continue to generate all types of referral action.
Real
Yeah.
Go back. You said when that is a booked, completed, paid move. So you're just looking for the status gets changed from opportunity paid in full.
Right. So the first rule with these triggers is that, or what's triggering it is like when something happens, right? Maybe it was paid in full, the job was completed, the deposit was booked. You can do a number of things on how you want to trigger a touch point. That for this example with realtors, we're looking at paid in full, the job was completed, obviously, balance was satisfied, and we want to thank that realtor. And if they ask, maybe we're giving them a referral commission or something like that, but you can kind of have all that data already set up for you in Smart Moving. So you can build out all of your actions and follow-ups. If you're doing things with text, these texts should match your sales templates, right? You should quickly see that it's in your follow-ups, a text or a call, and it's going to match, or an email, and it's going to match that same template name. If you're using
Why?
marketing, why? Because I don't want to dig for, all right, it's thank a realtor. Now I got to go find the realtor post move thank you text. Like you want to try and match the title of this action with whatever is over here in your sales templates.
Got it. So you're just doing that to make it easy on whoever's
Right.
running this workflow.
Right. And you can use our
Al had a great
tokens.
question here. Is there a way to actually have a text message sent or an email sent automatically, not just have a reminder to do the action?
Yeah, it's a good question. So smart marketing allows you to build that with automated emails. There are a lot of laws and rules around automated texting. Smart Moving's trying to protect our movers from getting into hot water there. So while we're exploring that, that is not something outside of your triggered events here in Smart Moving. So if you're not familiar with this, please come in here and get very familiar with all the triggered events, anything that's happening inside and outside the system from either the salesperson or the customer. Usually there is a email and text response, right? These follow-ups are triggered actions. We've done studies. I've seen things. I've tried automatic SMS as well with my moving company. We all get automated messages, right? When I travel, my bank's pinging me. The lawn guy's pinging me. Like, no one pays attention to automated messages. Try to make your messages concise with intent. One call to action, reply, call, give a thumbs up, whatever that is. Like, don't give them 100 things to look at and say, right? It should just have a very quick call here, right?
So going back to that then, let's just say I like to play a game of Risk. I like to push the edge. I like to make things a little bit more gray. If I wanted to leverage where it would come in and there would be some automated texting that goes out in a workflow, how would I do that?
You could leverage our API. We have companies that do that with the API. There's other texting tools out there, other platforms that do other automated workflows. I just think that like if you're texting the client from this number, that number, calling from this number, like it's going to get confusing. And then you're in that gray area of, is this company a broker or are they legit? And so I just have a strong opinion that keeping this really simple and smart moving, giving your team those to-dos. There's reports in here, guys, that, hey, like, what did the team do today? All reports, activity details. I can see exactly what Travis did or didn't do yesterday, right? Follow-ups completed. I can see, that summary of call, emails, text. All this should be, pretty busy if you're using Smart Moving. I was talking to Austin Yarbrough, who runs Moving Army, the other day, and we were looking at his text campaigns for this exact reason. And I was like, hey, like, why does Austin on your team, let's say he has $0 booked. I was like, why is he sending the most messages? Right? He had like 600 messages sent last month. And he was like, oh, that's the VA that does X, Y, Z for me. And I was like, okay, well, as long as that seems like it's driving revenue, then that's good activity. But they're texting all out of Smart Moving, right? I mean, once you build those templates, it's a real quick click and send. It's tracked in Smart Moving. It's really helpful for, those chargebacks, right? You want to track all that in one system. You can use the API to append things in Smart Moving. I just don't think that it's the best thing to do from a
Yeah. So you don't think it's the best thing to do, but if we wanted to do that, the answer to that is yes, there's ways you can connect with, let's say, Zapier or Twilio to Zapier, and there's ways to connect to the API that if you really wanted to build out a more automated text flow campaign that would happen from the workflow, it's possible through an API or Zapier or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our API can handle that. Our team can get that set up for you from, turning on that API standpoint. It works well with LiveSwitch, Cube Sheets, snowball, all of those things that are pre and post move, like that's what the API is there for, right? If we wanted to integrate or build integrations with 50 partners, like it's just really hard to do that. And when they make changes, we have to make changes. That API handles that workload in between.
Cool. All right. If you guys have questions on that, great. And then are you going to give us some more workflows, or are we moving on from workflows?
Any questions on workflows? You want to see it kind of in action, or what's
Let's see a quick example in action. And while you do that, while you give that example, I'd like to allow people to take a second here and think through a situation in your business right now. This is a great opportunity to go, if I wanted to do this, how would I do that in workflow, or can I do that? Get those questions in while Austin gives an example of how this works.
So I don't have my moving company connected to my website or my smart moving anymore. So we're going to use this iframe form. Travis is requesting a move, right? And we're going to get all this data. Rotate Digital is excellent at being able to build web forms that properly communicate to smart moving in a number of ways. One, that underlying UTM data, but don't have the same web form. My biggest suggestion would be don't have the same web form for every page on your website. Have a very simple mobile-friendly one that's on the front end, right? If you're looking at interstate packing and moving, that needs to be a multi-part form. Rotate can set that up, and you're capturing data on every step that they take, right? You're qualifying the leads. The longer they're on that form, it's better for your website, and all that stuff comes into smart moving. So we're just going to embed this form over there and send it on in. Here's this new lead here. I did not turn on my tracking, so we'll just grab that lead from Travis. But in the UTM details, this should come in looking exactly like this when a new lead comes in.
Now,
So
it did say hot lead on that. Is that
yeah,
because
it was
of
a
the way I
hot lead.
look, or what? How are we? What does a hot lead mean?
Because of the way you look, typically we're going to close loss that immediately. But what we would do is if we had our like Google Ads thing turned on, it would, again, if it was connected, it would route that to Austin or your best salesperson, right? So I grabbed that lead because it was hot, but back in our, and we'll go right back to it to the workflow, and I'll explain, how these things start to happen. But you can route those leads. Maybe you have certain salespeople, certain times of the day. You probably have a morning and afternoon sales crew. So like you can point these things with different times of days very easily, and then set up the following triggers for the next day. Right here, you can see like how many calls, emails, texts have been sent, and then you can filter all of that down here. I used to see a lot of traffic on leads, and I would just click note, and it would pull up the primary note, which right now is the first one, which is this tracking tool that's coming in here, right? So
So let's pause real quick on this. So what this is a lead came in, and the idea here is this is a lead that came from Facebook, a Facebook ad, and you can see that there's UTM parameters that got pushed through because of the Facebook ad. And now what you're about to show us is then what you could do with that specific lead because of how it came in. Correct?
correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So all of the UTM, which we'll break down later, that's triggering what's happening on those follow-ups. So that's where these workflow campaigns are going to help you. I've got some really, really broad ones here around if there's origin or destination things and you focus on long distance moving, you can use that. You can set up different UTM triggers. And then beyond that, we have a group of follow-ups that happen. And this other one, or actually we'll just kind of build off this one. So you could either assign this lead to somebody, you could start creating follow-ups, you might apply a task or assign a move coordinator. My suggestion is if you're paying for ads and you have the ability to list multiple salespeople, use both the coordinator and the salesperson to touch those leads multiple times a day, right? They may be looking for a certain tone. Your salespersons are not robots yet. They're going to have the ability to kind of win together through that workflow, and you can continue to build some unique actions here, right? So our first one would probably be a follow-up to call. You can set these up for different timing structures. If the job's booked, you might start back, backdating things to say, hey, we got to do this confirmation. We're trying to upsell packing. These are all the workflow tools you can build through this one rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the questions Tim had here is he said, if I created a video in-house, I don't know if what you mean by in-house, but if I created a video in-house that I wanted to send to book jobs, could I create this workflow automation rule to send that video to customers a few days before their job?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it sounds like Tim's looking to do maybe how to be best prepared for your move or what to expect on move day and just drive a service level expectation from there. You can do a number of things. Most specifically in your sales templates, in your job reminder, you could have an email that goes out with that video. I have one set up in my initial. Shout out to Roe and Moriel at Solomon and Sons. This is a YouTube embedded link, right? So when they receive this new lead, it's the same format that Tim's talking about. They have an email, or I've inputted a video here from YouTube, right? So they click that and it jumps straight to YouTube. All of these emails in the templates list are UTM codes, or I'm sorry, HTML codes. So you can get really creative in that. It depends on the video, right? So like, obviously it's probably going to be a link. You could do that in your customer portal as well. I showed that at Virtual Movers, but you can embed a video in your customer portal. And so you can set that up when they're looking at estimates, but if it's not in Smart Marketing or MailChimp, you would need to do that in these one of two places here in Smart Moving. I'm
So in
curious
a
what
work,
yeah, I'm curious what kind
yes.
of file type that is though.
So in a workflow automation, I could send a link, an SMS with a link that says, "Hey, you're a couple days before the move. I wanted to send this video to you. Take a look at this because these are some important things you need to have." Could that be automated or created through a workflow?
Yeah, so that workflow it would say Tim's pre-move video, and you would type whatever you wanted to type and embed that link right here.
And then
So
the workflow would send that out, or we would have to manually send that out.
you're going to manually send this out with that workflow for SMS.
Unless you connected with an API or Zapier to have that send out from a
Right.
workflow 2 days before the. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, everybody? David's got a question. All the stuff that we're talking about right now, is that in a current plan or do you have to upgrade to get something like this?
You know, there's obviously several levels to smart moving plans. The workflow automation should be in your plan, right? This is part of what's pretty standard in smart moving. The API, if you're connecting to other tools, is an updated or an upgraded monthly fee. Your account manager can walk through that with you. The lead aggregation, the content tracking, all that is standard in smart moving, right? That's part of the lead API, which is separate, which is a standard tool that Travis brings in all that lead information from. If you want that stuff automatically going back out to optimize to Google and other tools, that's where the other API gives you the most leverage. I mean, we're talking about $100 to $200 a month to better focus your targeted ads,
Mm-hmm.
and your moves are on average $1,200. So like one sixth of my ad has to work for that to pay for itself. Like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so everybody's got workflows for the most part. If you want API, you got to pay more for that. But if you're wanting to send, Tim, in your case, if you wanted to send a video that you created in-house to any book job a couple days before their actual booked move, and you wanted that to be an automatic text that went out that you didn't have to manually force, you could upgrade with an API connected into Zapier and have that sent out, or connected into CallRail or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go through what those look like, right? So in everyone's profile, my account, you will have the ability on how these things want to communicate with you. You also have these leads and follow-ups and tasks up here in this flag icon. It's somewhat newer to smart moving. We were bouncing things around between the lead bell and the new flag last year. So these are my leads. You can view anyone in the company depending on your role. I've got packing reviews, right? Tim talked about what can I do beforehand? Like that's a good one to have as a packing review. Um, in this lead right here, I would call, make some notes, all that appends here in Smart Reviewing in the sales communication tab. I could delete this. I could, just check it off when you're done, update the following, and the next lead's going to, the next tool is going to trigger for you or that next salesperson. Those roles, when you're looking at them in Smart Moving, are over here. So you have salesperson, estimator, and move coordinator. So we
Okay.
can automate how those things happen depending on any number of factors. The service type could be different. The branch could be different. The referral source could be different, right? So however that wants to flow based off your setup, and we're happy to work with you on what's best on an individual level. We're happy to do that.
Okay. All right. So you guys may have some more questions. Get them in. Let's move on to the next part of this. I think you wanted to go through some of the reporting that you wanted to share with people that they can be leveraging.
Yeah, my favorite part, data, right? So in the growth plan in Smart Moving, you've got over 50 reports here you can leverage our legacy reporting. Where Travis and I spend a lot of time together is the marketing ROI, lead source conversion analysis, and the all jobs report. These are 3 separate reports. They all have similar data, but there's very particular things that you want to have inside of these reports to really make it make sense, right? A number of these things you can automatically trigger, right? So if you were working with Rotate Digital, send this out on a weekly or biweekly cadence or a monthly cadence when you're meeting with them. They can receive this report from Smart Moving automatically if you just set that up right there. Obviously, you can build other filters in here. Now, I have some favorite reports, and so I like to see certain reports around Smart Moving. Travis wanted me to go over the difference between the all jobs and the ROI reporting. One of the most important things for that to really work well is having your marketing spend set up. So in your marketing settings, you can go to marketing spend, and each month you can adjust those referral sources with your spend, right? What are you spending on AdWords or total campaigns? Are you paying realtors commission and stuff, right? Like that's an expense that you should be listing out in Smart Moving so you know what those trends look like. SEO, USA home listings, mailers, all those things you can list up here and understand what those ROI conversions are. So these reports, when you get to them, start to make a lot of sense. So in marketing, we have the ROI report. And I'll just look at this year. So we got some more data. Again, demo account. So these are not realistic numbers for me. I am not shouting out KPIs. I'm happy to share that with you personally if you think KPI should be at certain levels. 7 to 10x ROAS is always a great goal. 5 is a danger zone. So all of those referral sources are listed
Not for
here.
Google Ads.
Yes, not for Google Ads. Again, book more jobs with Google Ads in Smart Moving. I will come do sales for you. It's really simple, I promise. Service date, receive date. This is kind of like the FIFO, LIFO of looking at leads, right? So you just need to be on the same page with Rotate about what you're looking at. I prefer leads receive date. That's what it defaults to. Service date can be, obviously that might change, right? And so when we're looking at paid ads per month, that's what we spent that month. And then you can layer in and kind of have an understanding of what that lag is on your overall book jobs, right? You might have booked a move for end of month here in March. They didn't close, and now that goes to mid-April or something around Easter. And we've got to figure out, why is that changing? So I prefer looking at leads and spend on a receive date basis, not a service date basis. And moving, too many things change. You can set it up your way, but you have both options in Smart Moving. I just prefer the receive date side of things.
While you're there, there's a question. I'm about to sneeze though, so I can't even read. Sean, there you go. Sean says in the marketing ROI report, will the ROI, I'm allergic to something here. Will the ROI be correct if you input the amount paid by the end of the month? Meaning, will it allocate the amount spent for jobs that have already been serviced? I don't know if
Yes,
that
you can
makes
go
sense.
edit that at any time. That's a good question. So you can go edit that at any time and then rerun your February reporting, and it's going to be accurate in this page here. Um, so a lot of the smart moving data, like it's your live data, right? So if we went and adjusted February as an example, it would come back and recalculate those numbers. If I adjust this on the fly to a salesperson or a date, um, it's going to adjust those numbers pretty quickly. Again, this is fake data for me, just playing in this every day, but this is not real numbers you should be looking at here. So
And if I update it for February and I go then in March and put a different number, does that save that or is it changing for every?
each month you input in marketing spend separately.
Beautiful.
So if I go to April, a lot of these numbers will be cleared out.
Got it.
So there's cost per lead, cost per month. So I like to just do this end of month. Again, you can set an automatic task in here to do that and just remind yourself or have Rotate Digital come in there and drop in the number. The other thing is in your lead providers, some of these have a unit cost. So you might be paying per lead at Angie's as an example. Um, so there's 3 different ways that gets calculated in Smart Moving. All right, back into reporting. I know I'm clicking around a lot, not trying to make you guys dizzy. There's just a lot to show, right? But the other one's the lead source conversion analysis. This is Travis's favorite. So way over here on the right-hand side are the UTM parameters. That's what's pulling in from those lead forms. So if it was a lead form, organic or paid, it should have we should have tracking set up so you see that over time how those are trending. Again, you can filter out a number of things in here if you need to, but this is where this report combined with the all jobs report are really going to tell the story overall. In the current reporting, legacy reporting, and smart moving, you can use smart insights to get a lot more granular with some of these things combined. I'll show what those tables look like, but the all jobs report has all the data. You would just need to layer in or copy over the UTM data and match that up.
Okay. Let's go. A question here is on the marketing ROI report. If I sort by potential opportunity, it only sorts each page by name, not the whole report. Wondering if this is happening to me or anyone else. Does that question make sense to you, or do we need her to clear that up?
From L here.
You won't see it on yours since you only have one page.
Page by name, whole report. Yeah, we might have to connect on that. I'm not quite understanding your question. It sorts each page by name in this report specifically. I
Yeah,
don't know the referral source there, so
maybe send a screenshot to me and Austin after this webinar, and he can jump on and go through that. I don't know if we can help you out on this one, but that was a good question there. Zaddy
okay.
said,
Oh, okay. I think I understand what she's saying. She has a more than 50 referral sources, perhaps, and so it's expanding, and yeah, so she can only sort it by name. But yeah, let's connect on that afterwards. I'm happy to help you out with that. Best to download it to Excel.
okay. On lead cost, how can you adjust the lead cost? I'm asking because some lead costs can be, for example, morning time at $25 lead to $40 per lead, depending on the time of the day. So can you adjust different lead costs there?
That's a great question. In smart moving the profitability reports at the job level, you can adjust your advertising or lead cost. The overall consumption of that paid campaign is going to be what we've looked at so far. So at the job level, if you know that you completed that job and have a different lead cost associated with that, that's where you would input that specific info. But that's a really good question, and I will definitely take that back to the team on how we can track that a little bit better for those dynamic campaigns.
Okay, great. Questions on reporting, everybody. This is a great opportunity to dive into reporting because what we're going to do is we're going to move on to smart insights. I'm going to try to force Austin to give us some ideas of what we can do with a dashboard. Um, so before, let's just move on. If you have questions on reporting, this is the time to get this in. And then we'll end this by giving you guys an opportunity to have your time with Austin to go, here's my questions about anything and everything with Smart Moving. He doesn't know I was offering that, but here I am. All right. Walk us through Smart Insights. What is different from Smart Insights to reporting? And walk us through an example of how you can use this.
Yeah, Smart Insights is probably the most powerful tool in smart moving, in my opinion. I have some favorite integrations that we have. This is my favorite.
That sounds like a sales pitch. All right. Do we have to pay for Smart Insights? Do we have to pay for it? Just kidding. Go ahead.
This tool is very powerful. I have a dashboard here. You'll get a few dashboards when you get Smart Insights, but the whole point is you go customize that data. So the all jobs report, the UTM tracking, the numerous other things, truck utilization, who's providing the best service, 5 stars, tips, all that stuff. You can drive that information into Smart Insights and customize your reporting. You can look at things that are geo level, right? On leads by zip code, you can filter a number of things in here. So you can continue to build filters and however you want to leverage this data. Smart Insights is a Sigma Power BI. So like if you're familiar with that, it's pretty complex in the data that you can drive, but you can get really granular with how you're looking at your data and understand where the best salespersons are coming from, why, and how. All that data you can explore underneath here. So Travis mentioned UTMs. This is where we can look at all the UTM codes down in here as we keep scrolling. And there they are.
So you're saying we could build one report that gives me lead name, phone number, email, estimate, booked revenue that was collected, the referral source within the CRM, and the UTM data, correct?
Right. And I think what would be fun, Travis, is if you and I could put our heads together and set up a unique Rotate Digital dashboard here that's available to your clients. But this is a really powerful tool. My favorite tool in smart moving. It just has endless opportunities with how you look at your data. Let's see here. I've got an ads dashboard. I think it might be the same one there. But go back here. Sorry. I have too many ones. I just can't find out where they are. My insights or the web service segment. So when you're looking at unique graphs, data, metrics, like the best way to do this in smart moving is with insights and understand like, all right, now that I understand, okay, all of these moving jobs are local or interstate. Like I'm spending a lot on ads, but not a lot of revenue is coming from that, right? Very visual tool, very easy to see what's working, what's not working. Again, this is my demo account, so it's not what my company would have looked like. My wife and I spent a healthy amount of money on Google Ads building our business, so like I understand what that cost is. I would have used a tool like this to be even better at it.
Okay. Let's land the plane here. So we've
Yeah.
gone through a ton of stuff here. What kind of questions do you guys have for Austin? Get that into the chat now, whether it's smart insights, marketing ROI reports, whether it's workflows. This is some more advanced level things that you can do. I hope you were made aware of some more things you can leverage the smart moving with, because the goal is for us to be able to solve the problems, the confusions, and the clarity that we need using the CRM that we already pay for. That's why this webinar exists. That's why we're here today. So get those questions in as we get the questions in. There are some other outstanding questions here that we'll go through. Number one, somebody asked when we were talking about referral sources and smart moving, is it okay to manually add in a lead provider?
Yes.
So we could go into the referral source and just add a brand new one without having the scare of needing to reach out to you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely could do that.
So you go right in there, you add a new referral source, you say, there you
Webinar.
go, webinar leads somehow. And then I just click on add referral source. Then internally, here's something I just want to share from the marketing side. Internally, what that means is then your team can select a new referral source. But if I want this to be public, where they could select that on a drop down on the quote form, would that automatically be included, or is that where we come in and build that specifically for our clients?
If you're using the smart moving iframe form, it would show on that form if you chose this yes or no.
Got it.
So you can make it private and hide that. Obviously, if you're using a Java or a WordPress form or something more custom, um, you dictate over there what that list is, and then you need to match that here in your referral sources. And that's often where those things start to get a little messy, right? Is because who's managing your web, the web developers not looking at those referral sources. And so that's where that needs to get off on the right track very early and consistently.
Okay. On that same thing, I said, what's the best way to input leads from various providers like USA Home Listings into Smart Moving? It feels like manual input is time consuming, killing overhead.
Zapier is going to be your best friend there, Ike. USA has an API. They're actually one of my lead providers in here as well. So, I mean, I've tested that. You can pump in USA Home Listings lead data into Smart Moving. Um, I would caution that, again, you need to explore your state and federal laws on soliciting those customers. It's just a gray area right now in moving, but or in any home service. But you can connect those easily with Zapier or the API. They basically are coming in as cold leads, and you're doing the outbound, however you want to do the outbound.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. All right, let's go to this one. This one's important. And then, guys, get in your last questions before we end this webinar today. Somebody asked, what's the best way? It says, how to best close rate by sales rep and identify top sales reps versus underperformers. Are there any workflows or reports you recommend to flag missed opportunities or unbooked estimates? That's a webinar in itself. But how do we best identify the sales reps with the best close rates versus underperformers? And then are there workflows to see missed opportunities? Like if I'm an owner, I can't keep my eye on every little thing. Is there a way I could build a report that flags certain types of missed opportunities or unbooked estimates that I want to be made aware of?
Yeah. So the report that you would go look at to really understand, who's performing how is the sales performance report. And again, filter that down by our referral source and AdWords, right? And so if I'm looking at paid ads, this is the report that's showing me who's booking what and when and how, versus what's pending or lost or canceled. So Austin might book a lot quickly and then they end up all canceling because we don't have a deposit or they're, ignoring that or whatever. That's not good, right? So you can use that as a kind of a corrective action tool. That's just the salesperson performance report. That's where I would start. Um, your stale opportunities, that's going to be leads that haven't been touched in the last couple of days. That's another one, right? You can look at where that's at and go follow up on those leads very quickly. Um, when you build those workflows, every salesperson is going to have a list of follow-ups. So, you see these messages here, that's the SMS icon. If there's the phone call or the email, those are different icons. So it's really quickly to kind of just execute those. To kind of compound on this, Travis, every day in Smart Moving, as an owner, I looked at new leads. What do we get? I looked at booked leads by booked jobs by service by date. So that is this one right here. Uh, so what do we book today? What do we get today? What do we book today? And then our worst one, we hate this one, but what do we lose today? So lost leads by date. So I looked at those three to make sure that, hey, just because they didn't close on their house, or maybe they're not sure if they're moving to storage and the salesperson lost it, right? Like I would just be very diligent as an owner or have a sales manager just focusing on those things and making sure that every lead, um, squeeze all the juice out of it so it can come across the line as a converted move.
Beautiful. Okay. Let me ask you this. Is there a workflow where one of the things that we find with a lot of owners that are trying to figure out how to leverage smart moving, but also they want to hold their sales team accountable? Is there a way to have a workflow where a lead gets cold? Maybe we didn't follow up with the lead in less than 48 hours. Is there a workflow that you could build that flags a new notification either to me as the owner or to the salesperson to go, hey, this lead didn't get touched for the last 24 hours. So let's get it figured out. Like let's get some eyes on that. Is that possible with workflows?
So not today. That's a great call out and something we can explore. But what I would look at is leads and your last contact. So again, as an owner, any user and last contact, you might see some insane number here in my demo account 10 months ago. There you go. I'm probably not going to book that guy, right? But this should be down to just a granular couple of days. So in 2 clicks, you can see that. I could always reassign my 10-month-old lead to somebody and move on, right? Um, so while I think looking at things at a status standpoint, which is really important, you can create those statuses that make sense for your business. I like to see like what's actually happening in my sales statuses, lead statuses here. Like some people like to see priority 1 through 8. When I see P7, I think of F1 racing, but I kind of prefer like what's actually being done, so everyone has a very clear understanding of what's going on. Whether that's your VA or your sales team, use lead statuses to help filter those. But I do like that call out that we could maybe expand on different triggers that haven't been touched in so many days. Again, like if they told you we'll get back to you on Saturday and it's Tuesday and you've got that task follow up, then that's where that needs to live.
Yeah, a lot of the hard part is just holding the team accountable and creating the systems and processes, even in our daily workflow or for our assistant, to go and help people keep them accountable. We are the chief accountability officers at our company, and so we've got to create and figure out ways that we can use this system or process and as like a checklist to go through on a daily, weekly basis to go and notify and flag these. Stan asked a good question. There have been so many updates in smart moving since I joined it back in 2017, but I feel seriously behind in putting all these features to use. Is there a checklist or a guide to help me prioritize getting the reporting, marketing tracking, and workflows set up properly?
Stan, I think you just gave Travis and I some homework to send this out post webinar today is how to do this from a step 1 to step 10. Happy to provide that. And I can even include a little video as to, where these things kind of live so you can go reference that between each step.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds like a big task ahead, but at minimum, what we can do is maybe get a 10 checklist of like foundational things to get your smart moving into a good place, and some of the things that you need to go look at, and some standard basic, workflows and reporting to get in place. And that means Tim saying, let's get this Rotate Digital dashboard. I think we should build that out. We'll build out a Rotate Digital standard dashboard that includes all these critical features, because that Smart Insight dashboard will be very powerful. We'll force Smart Moving to have that as a standard dashboard if you opt into Smart Insights, and we'll have that as a jumping stone from there. So that'll be great. Couple
If
other,
you're doing, yeah, if you're
go
doing
ahead.
interstate leads, like Smart Insights is a must-have if you're looking to do piggybacks and compound moves and just make it simple. You're not going to the whiteboard anymore. It's all, very, very simple in Smart Insights. So it's a really powerful tool. But I like that. Thank you. Thank you, Stan.
Another question, and we'll land the plane here. When a lead comes, they get an email saying, hello, XYZ, back to them. Can we edit that email and then have their email and their partner email so both people get an email about them asking for a moving service? I ask this because when I get info from USA Listings, we have 2 emails and a contact info so that we can double down until we get a conversation going with one person. Do you understand that question?
I think so. Um, it sounds like you're getting leads with multiple pieces of contact information. It could be homeowners, could be a homeowner and a realtor. You can apply different contacts to your opportunity in Smart Moving or to your lead. So you would be able to send both emails there from your sales templates in Smart Moving. We might have to explore how the API receives that to automatically add that second contact. I haven't done that before, but I'm sure we could find a way to do that. Again, the USA Home Listings data, while it's a great lead tool, like I would be very cautious with those federal laws on, soliciting those moves. You don't want to get yourself in hot water there.
Yeah. Okay. Another question. USA Home Listings is saying that they provide an API, and Smart Moving says they don't do anything with that. We haven't had success in importing from USA Home Listings. Who can I reach out to at Smart Moving to get some insight and help on this?
Yeah. So while we do provide the API capability, right? Like we're not building that engine, so we don't build the middleware. I can reach out to USA Home Listings to see what we can do to simplify that motion. But that's a pretty simple like Zapier type piece between Smart Moving, and all we need is like the ability to somewhere is going to send that information somewhere, and that information is going to send it back into Smart Moving in the right format, right? So we just need that middle piece in between the two. That's called middleware. We can explore that. Just reach out to me, Austin at Smart Moving, or hello at Smart Moving, and we will make sure those leads are coming in, and you can track those down how you need to.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time today. I've got one important announcement that you will not want to miss, so stick around for just a second here. But I just want to give an opportunity for you guys to thank Austin for showing up today and running through this. Austin's busy. He did not need to do this. He did this out of the kindness of him wanting to share what Smart Moving can do. So if you guys can give him some love, give him some encouragement. If you are able to get a takeaway from this, please let him know. Let us know. So Austin, thank you for running through this today. I really do appreciate it. And I think the crowd really, the attendees really enjoyed this and got some maybe more information they wanted. But remember, that was my goal. I wanted you to feel overwhelmed. I wanted you to feel like you got an advanced level college course on this and you're going, oh my gosh, I didn't know this, and or we've got some work to do. So thank you for being here today and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for supporting Rotate and Smart Moving. Just continue to ask questions, and we will help provide answers. It's it's never done. We're not done working over here. We just want to continue to build the best platform possible. So your feedback, really means the world to me. I can't fix everything. I am one man, and I am not smart enough to be on our engineering team. So I am here talking to Travis.
I love it. You've done a great job. Thank you. All right,
All right.
guys. So the important announcement here. I need you guys to listen up. Don't leave yet. This is really important. A lot of you guys have a lot of questions about UTMs, phone call number tracking, how to track leads. And I've decided that we're just going to open up like step by step, not some presentation, but step by step on what you need to know. It's what I speak about when it comes to UTM and lead tracking. It's what we went through today in creating these dashboards. So what we're going to do next month is going to be, my goal is to make this the biggest webinar and the most successful webinar when it comes to the information you need. We are going to open up exactly how we set up lead tracking. We're going to show you the tools that you can use. We're going to show you the ability on how this all works. We're going to show you examples. We're going to give live demos, and it's going to give you a framework to get the tracking that you need from Google Paid Ads to Google SEO to Google LSA, to postcards. We're going to show you how this gets set up, what you can do, what you can buy to get this set up, how to use phone call tracking, how to sign up for a phone call tracking. We're going to open up the gates of what we built for our clients and what we do for our clients. But I'm going to open that up for everybody so you can see that and you can implement this on your own if you don't want to work with us, or if you want to use some of the software that we use. So I'm going to open that up next month. So it's a very important webinar to join. That will be released here in the next couple of days for signing up. Do not miss that. Do not miss this webinar. If you have questions on marketing, marketing attribution, insights, like how this all works, how a UTM works, how we can get UTMs in smart moving, that is going to be a long and valuable webinar next month. So when you get that information, block your time. We're going to make it a little bit of a longer webinar, but that is a webinar you do not want to miss. You do not want to just watch the recording of. You're going to want to show up, participate, and get involved on that. So I wanted to make that announcement. We got a couple other questions here that came in. One more question is, can we limit smart moving to only be open from certain computers? Oh, that's a great question.
We'll
I
repeat
think
that
the
one
answer
more
is
time.
no. Is there a way we can limit smart moving to only be open from certain computers or IP addresses?
I would need to take that to our CTO. You can track in user login history which IP addresses are logging in. I would make sure that you're the only admin on your account within Smart Moving, and control the permissions from the user level there. Um, I'm not sure. We did just fly through our CMMC compliance for the military moves, but I don't know if that's related to any of the IP lockdown.
Okay. All right. Thanks for answering that. William said, who can I talk to about switching from super move to smart moving?
Oh, come on, Williams, reach out to me. Just hello at Smart Moving. Come on back to the blue train.
To the blue train. All right. I'm agnostic. All right. Maybe I have to be agnostic here. No. Guys, thank you for showing up today. Do not miss next month's webinar. We'll get the ads out for that. You do not want to miss that. You do not want to watch the recording. Do I do Facebook ads? No, we do not do Facebook ads. We haven't figured out how to crack it. We can't get it to work. So we don't offer that and we don't sell that. So guys, thank you all for being here today. Thanks for spending a very critical, important hour out of your day. We will see you next time on the most important webinar on lead tracking, attribution, UTMs, how to set it up, how that all works. Austin, thanks for being here today. Y'all have a wonderful day. We will see you. Bye.